What's up guys, it's that time of the month again for the new Record of Ragnarok chapter. Today we have chapter 56, and let me just say it was a top tier start of the 7th round. Great introductions and walkouts, and the fight already heating up and kicking off very solidly. One of the best introduction chapters we've had so far in the tournament, if I'm being honest. Both fighters are absolute mad lads. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do, make sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. I post regular Record of Ragnarok content on this channel. So yeah, hope you enjoy. Let's begin. The title is King vs King, with us seeing Hwang still chilling with Ares and Hermes. Ares is raging at him due to being, fodderized. But of course, King doesn't acknowledge him whatsoever and ends up chucking him away yet again. Ares tried talking big about being one of the 12 gods of Olympus, and just keeps getting shit on. You gotta feel bad for the boy at this point, honestly. And now Hermes has become interested in Hwang, also calling Ares a musclehead, which is pretty funny. But also the implication that, considering all the gods, Ares may be trashed the ones fighting in the tournament, but as a whole he's definitely on the higher echelon of gods, and Hwang's able to fodderize him so easily, which I'm guessing has impressed Hermes. So much so that our King Hwang has acquired a new servant. Hermes is giving him something to drink. So yeah, he has acquired Hermes as his servant, which is, something pretty cool, just showing his almighty kingly might. And then Ares, as he gets up again, ready to, rage, Gol comes in and whacking Ares with the door. So Ares is just the ultimate L magnet at this point in Record of Ragnarok. The humans are safe, he isn't fighting for the gods, because if he was, he would let out all his anger and clap whoever he would fight. But for now, Ares will just stay taking L's. Gol and Brynhilde were looking for Hwang, and they found all these holes in the wall as he was just walking through the various walls to get to his current spot. We see some interaction between the two, and another top tier line from Hwang, him saying, "The road is where I lead." So he makes his own road. That's how Chadley he truly is. Exciting Hermes even more, and Ares pretty much having a mental breakdown. A pretty common occurrence at this point. It happens like every other chapter. Hwang is refusing to leave this place as he quite enjoys it, as he's been bored for the whole time, but then Brynhilde reveals that he's fighting and instantly gets up and begins walking out to the arena. Not like the regular fighters where they just go out the human side and have the whole introduction and everything like that. He's already mentioned he leads the road, or the road is where I lead. As such, he goes and makes his own road. In a pretty cool way, we have the announcer introducing Hwang and everything like that. Then we see the other Chinese emperors, including this guy who was a spectator in round 1 for the fight of Lu Bu vs 4. I wonder if he's going to mention anything about that fight while he's spectating, or if we get any insight from him during this fight. It's going to be pretty interesting. But we see the other emperors letting down the path for Hwang to walk down, which by the way is on the god side, so they just let down the road over these various other gods, which of course triggers these random fodder gods, but this shows how Chadley Hwang truly is. Doesn't care where he is the king around, with the announcer talking about his real world mythology and everything like that, how he was the first emperor of China who first unified all of China and everything like that. So the mad lad is here, and then we get introduced to his Valkyrie, which sadly is another Loey. Feels bad, the 10th eldest of the Valkyries. She seems to be crying, and also mentions something pretty interesting, that they didn't get a chance to practice the Volund. Does that mean other humans previously and ones in the future have actually practiced the Volund before going out? Or maybe that's just something she personally wanted to do. However, it is making me think that potentially in the future a human may have practiced the whole Volund and fusion between Valkyrie and human a lot during the waiting time before his fight, meaning his perfection of the Volund may be better than others, but I don't think it would be too much of a factor. But the Volund for Qin Shi Huang is one of the coolest and drippiest we've seen in the story so far. A set of armor, very badass. We learn about its effects, or at least Huang's fighting style, later in the chapter, but at an initial glance it looks very badass and I am very excited. From there we cut to the god's representative, our boy Hades. We see that he's holding his weapon which connects to his mythology, the Bident, looking pretty unique, and then we see someone approach him, the servant of Poseidon, who offers him the remains of Poseidon's trident, telling him to use it alongside his own weapon or to take it into battle to get revenge for Poseidon and everything like that. He mentions a little bit of Poseidon's personality, saying my brother was not the type to ask others to avenge him. Regardless, that's the whole reason Hades is actually here, and actually takes the remains of the trident and fuses it with his own weapon. I'm not sure if this was actually shown at any point earlier in the series of gods being able to do this, or this may perhaps be a unique power of Hades, or potentially somewhat similar to what Buddha did with Zero or something like that. But he fuses the two weapons together, looking even more badass. So Hades is ready to get revenge for his brother. We get his introduction walkout and a few interesting statements. They talk about Cerberus and the most fearsome monster in hell, how they pretty much bow down to him and they're nothing compared to Hades, the eldest of the three strongest brothers of Greece and king of the Netherworld. They don't directly say anything about Hades being stronger than Zeus or Poseidon, but the implication here is he's at least on Poseidon's level, but we have to wait to see what happens during the fight to get an idea whether he's stronger than Zeus or anything like that, but definitely going to be a powerhouse regardless. And then we also see him taking off his coat to see what he's going to be fighting in. If I'm being honest, I think Huang is looking much more drippier, and I do prefer his design as a whole, but both look pretty decent. I just wish Hades didn't look so much alike to Poseidon, but it does make sense considering they're brothers and everything like that. I have no idea what happened with Zeus and why he looks like an old man while being the younger one. We also see some other spectators such as Nostradamus. We may see him commentating throughout the tournament, which would be pretty interesting, as we know he got introduced last chapter. So if he does commentate or we cut to him at various points, that could be pretty interesting. We see Sasaki, Okita and their group, and we also see Jax chilling with his Valkyrie. We haven't seen Jax since the mention of the Lucky Gods and everything like that. Maybe we will cut to Jack for some commentary during this fight. I hope we just cut to some other characters rather than just the normal Hermes or Brunhilde or potentially Loki and Odin sometimes. It'll be cool if we cut to some other characters, give their thoughts about certain things. But the fight is beginning and Hades started out with a bang. He throws the first strike with Sasaki questioning whether it's the same thing that Poseidon used against him. However, it is not the same. Instead of multiple high-speed thrust, it's just a single thrust meant to kill. The Mad Lad Hades doesn't mess around whatsoever. The first attack he throws aims for his victory, and he actually does somewhat cut Huang here, but he does dodge it, and then Hades prepares to throw even more strikes. This time he's throwing a Fury of Blows, with Hermes saying a mere graze should be enough to kill him instantly. A very insane statement. We do see him hit Huang later in the chapter more than like a simple graze, so that really isn't the case, but as a statement it is pretty impressive. But Huang is initially dodging all the attacks, and then of course Hades, not messing around whatsoever, pulls out a named attack. Again, it seems to be a thrust, but it involves jumping into air and doing a downward motion called the Hammer of the Netherworld. Again, Huang was able to dodge it, but we see it actually, shattering some of the arena, showing the power behind Hades' thrust and everything like that. And this is where we actually see him cutting Huang here. Even though he dodged it, the after effects of it were still enough to do some decent damage. So yeah, Hades has some pretty insane power and has pretty much cracked part of the ring. And without delay, he's charged Huang again, saying be gone, goes for yet another named attack called the Breaker of Storms. This one seems to involve a more twisting motion, so I'm guessing there's more power and it may be harder to dodge. This time we see Huang breathing out and bringing up like this force field type thing, it seems like, but it's more so a martial art based on the flowing motion here. We see him block it with whatever he does here, send some of the impact against the wall. We see the wall breaking. Hades points out that he deflected my strike, and then we see Huang doing some breathing motion and then sends the strike pretty much back. So did Huang just use a form of Demon's Bane for us Kengan fans and has sent Hades flying across the arena? Hades had his attack turned on him and was sent sailing backwards. So yeah, Huang, very interesting and has a very hyped fighting style. I'm very excited. And then we get the reveal about his armor, the Chi Yu armor form. We see a star ranging from armor, spear, sword, halberd and crossbow, heavenly hand of defense. So as I mentioned in the leaks video, I think Huang's fighting style will be more akin to like a human weapon. We see that what he just used against Hades there was the armor form. So maybe when he uses the spear form, he throws attacks more so in a thrusting motion, or maybe his armor just has some spear-like aspect to it. But I do think Huang is going to be using a more martial art or hand-to-hand based fighting style with some magic or other aspects to enhance it and make it even cooler. And then for the final line of the chapter, it's Huang giving those top tier lines. There can only be one king in the world, and that man is I. This month's chapter, very top tier, like 60 great pages, a top tier start of the fight. Hades seems to be an absolute powerhouse and very OP with his strikes being deadly, and Huang fighting style seems to be very interesting and could become my favourite in the story so far. So I'm very excited, great chapter as a whole, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to subscribe. If you haven't already, make sure to follow my Twitter, it would be greatly appreciated. Join the Discord, and as always, shout out to these people who support the channel via the Patreon. Of course, all links in the description. But yep, that's it guys, peace.